Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today's guest is Ted Rice. He's founder at Lean After 40. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Adam. Really looking forward to this conversation.
All right. Well, there's a lot of people that listen to this show that are over 40, and a lot of us want to get leaner. So we're going to have some fun with that today. But before we get started with this, and also I want to get into your podcast as well, that you've been doing, I think, 11 years plus. But before we get into that, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So Ted, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Ted, what mission matters to you?
I'll answer it like this. Health and fitness saved my life. The way I got into this business was after a family tragedy. My younger brother was actually murdered. And after that, after looking at ways of getting my life back, fitness, the long story short is fitness gave me that purpose. It gave me the energy. It got me back my mental and physical health. And how that plays into what I do now is my mission is to help men over 40 in particular rebuild their health without burning out. Maybe you'll never go through something like what I went through, but I've worked with so many clients who deal with growing a business. To be an entrepreneur is to choose a stressful lifestyle, or divorces, so many things that can happen, aging parents, also dealing with kids that are growing up. So I want to empower men over 40 to feel like their best days are not behind them. You can be in the best shape of your life, and you just need to know how.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. First off, and when I think about what calls somebody to action and to start a business and to want to go out and help others, I always think it's interesting when somebody takes maybe a pain or a moment that happens in their life, they solve whatever that particular thing is, and then they're like, wow, I can help other people with this, or there's other people that can benefit from what I've learned along that way. You didn't, correct me if I'm off on this, I think I caught this correctly, but you didn't start out in the health industry, right? This is that event triggered you going down that path. And first off, am I correct on that?
Yeah, I was in school. I wanted to become a neuroscientist, and that's the path I was taking in college. But when I was 19, this is when this happened with my brother, and ended up dropping out of school. Didn't know what to do with myself. The stress was overwhelming, and I serendipitously found myself in health and fitness by the age of 22.
Yeah. And so talk about as you started earlier in that transition period, specifically of starting to go down the path of fitness. And the reason I asked this question, by the way, is because, lots of people go through transition for different things, of course, and different reasons. But that beginning stage of kind of exploring what even interests you, that's a special moment. Talk a little bit about that and when you started going down that path.
Well, yeah, when all that happened, I was 19. The story, I don't know how many details we really need to go into. Feel free to ask. But my parents were off. They ended up meeting two presidents, both Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, trying to push laws. So the case was very high profile.
Yeah.
And how that factors into the story of me and fitness is I was by myself. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have guidance. And really, my parents didn't either. They were that was their way to turn pain into purpose. So I ended up finding mine through looking around at hey, my life is terrible, right? Because of this traumatic event. And it was really horrible. Don't look it up unless you want a tearjerker this story. And I don't mean you, but of course you too, Adam, but just people listening. But I was looking around at what to do. And so the narrative became my life is over because this thing happened.
Yeah.
And thankfully for me, my dad actually had gotten me into health and fitness earlier in life. I basically modeled him.
Yeah.
He
Not
kind of
as
got
a
out of
business,
shape.
but just for your personal health. Am I right? Lifting weights or something else like that. I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Yeah. He I modeled him after, well, he was a good model for business too, but that's another
Yeah.
story. But for health and fitness, he was, when I was maybe 5 years old, he was doing bicep curls and playing racquetball, and
Yeah.
he would take me to Scandinavian, which was one of the, like one of those places in the 80s, one of the spa slash
Mm,
gyms in the 80s. And so that left an impression on me. And somehow I got back into doing that
mm,
when I was going through this tough transition in my life, dealing with this tragedy. And I started feeling better because the story was, oh, this thing happened. My life
yeah.
will never be better. I will never feel better. But
Mm,
as I started to get in better and better shape, I started to feel better, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally.
mm,
And I said, man, there's something really here.
yeah.
Right. And so that's what sparked, there's a lot of things that happened
Mhm.
aside from that, but that's what sparked the, like the passion, the emotional connection with health and fitness.
Yeah. So you're in your early 20s and you're in this industry. When did you know this would be like a business for you and that you'd continue going down that path? Was it early on? Was it like some years in? Like when did that, what was there a turning point? Like when did you know this would be a business and something that you would dedicate a lot of your time to?
Well, I was in the rest of the story was like I was in Miami Beach. So I was surrounded by entrepreneurs. I was
Yeah.
surrounded by people who own restaurants, real estate developers. And I was like, man, I just solved my financial problem. Most of my clients are successful entrepreneurs, high net
Mhm.
worth people, very smart business owners. And and it gave me an insight like this cannot just be a job, this could be something much bigger. I
Mm,
had a lot of struggles with growing the business and really wrapping my head around what I needed to learn to make the business successful,
yeah.
because I was more focused on what we would call working in the business, right?
Mm,
Knowing about exercise, coaching, all those things versus
yeah.
like, well, what's the marketing? What's the sales system? What's the delivery? How do we streamline that? And now that's what I do. But
Mm,
yeah, it was in my early 20s, maybe mid 20s. After a few years of doing it, I really started seeing the potential here to make it
mm.
grow into something bigger.
At what point did you choose the like the entrepreneur niche? Was that immediately like back then and you kind of stayed working with entrepreneurs or did that evolve as well? Was it just the nature of your clientele?
They chose me. Yeah, the nature of the clientele, they chose me. I worked with professional athletes. I worked with some
Mhm.
celebrities. I ended up, I mean, just to name drop a little bit,
Yeah.
because I didn't sign any NDAs. Um, I ended up working with Robert Downey Jr. before his first Iron Man movie when he
Oh,
was
that's
in
so
hanging out
cool.
in Miami. I worked with Ricky Martin for the better part of a year, getting him ready for um, a tour he was on. I think, no, I forget what tour. It was
Yeah.
quite a while ago. But what I really felt the most connection with
Mm.
was entrepreneurs, because I'm growing a business. They were growing a business.
Yeah.
I did seeing the issues because
Mm.
people who have businesses, they really want freedom, freedom to
Mm.
travel. Most of the people that I worked with enjoy good food.
Mhm.
And so it was like this balance between the stress of running a business,
Yeah.
finding time to enjoy yourself, caring about your health. Like, how do you make that into something? So
Mm.
if you asked me to work with athletes, I could do it. I probably wouldn't be great at doing it, although I could learn, I've been in, but um, I really love working with the demographic that I work with.
Hmm. What's special about that 40 and over group that we're talking about here today and their health and their health concerns? Like what do you find special about that group?
I would say that it starts with what they believe. In particular, if you're American in
Hmm.
an English speaking country, as well, like Australia or the UK, people tend to have a lot of these beliefs because of all the noise in the
Mm.
industry. So, for example, I was just talking to someone today. They're like, "Oh, I'm 53. It's not like I was in my 20s." I'm like, "Man, look." I didn't say this to him, but what I was thinking was there's no science shows there's no change in your metabolism until you hit about 60. And even then, it's not that big.
Wow.
This is really your lifestyle. It's really a lot of people go down roads that just aren't true. For
Hmm.
example, they think this is a good one. I had a client who worked with a nutritionist who said to remove the milk from their morning coffee, about a tablespoon of, half a cup, a couple tablespoons of milk. And that's what's causing the weight gain because of the inflammation that milk causes. First of all, studies show milk and dairy products in general associated with lower levels of inflammation. Two, didn't do anything for them. So I
Hmm.
feel like in your 40s, you're starting to really focus on your health
Hmm.
and you're overloaded with what I call noise.
Hmm.
And you don't know what to do. And you end up believing a lot of things like, oh, well, I work out so hard, but I'm not getting results. I still have this belly. I'm still out of shape. It must be my genetics. It must be my metabolism, my age.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing I'd say. And then the second thing I'd say is that the 40s is an interesting age because of what's going on. What I mean is, if you have a family, you have kids that are coming of age, maybe already like almost in college, going to go to college. So you're busy preparing them for that. But then on the other side, you have aging parents
Hmm.
and probably who don't, right, probably not doing the best. Now, in some cases, I have clients
Yeah.
where their parents are super fit, but that's rare. Most of the
Hmm.
time, it's like my dad has cancer, my mom has Alzheimer's. Like,
Yeah.
so they're balancing not just helping their kids, but caring for their aging parents and also
Hmm.
trying to find time for themselves. And that's kind of unique to that 40s, 50s period.
Mm. And probably there's some things that have to do with their businesses too. Like if they've been working on a business for a while, like it's probably experiencing some level of growth if they're a little bit more seasoned, especially if it's something they started in their 20s, they stuck with. So there's probably that pressure too. So it's kind of like you're getting it from all different angles, huh?
Yeah, in many cases, my clients are at the best point that they've ever been in their life,
Hmm.
financially or career wise, business wise. And they're like looking at themselves in the mirror and wondering, are my best days behind me?
Hmm. And
And
so,
man, I had a
so
guy tell me just recently, he's 53, this guy who I just spoke to. I'm like, I'm 48. I'm five.
hmm,
We're not that big of a difference in age. How
yeah,
come how come I'm
53
like
is
how I am? And
young. That's so young.
uh,
Yeah.
exactly,
What
exactly.
do you think
That's the
causes that? What do you
message.
think causes that thought process? Is it something that's just, and obviously everybody's going to be different, but is it just something that's inherited? Like what you just now said about metabolism. I feel like people in the opening of the interview, like it slows down at this age or this or that. Like I feel like some of these just truisms or misinformation that's just been passed down. I don't know. What do you think it is? I mean, you're the professional.
Yeah, part of it's that. Part of it's the let's say the fitness and the health and fitness industry thrives on cognitive dissonance.
Hmm.
That's why it's like, are eggs healthy? No, they're not. Oh, well, eggs are healthy again,
Yeah.
right? People are, and I think a lot of health and fitness people. So it's one of the big niches, right? Relationships, money, career, and health and fitness, right?
Yeah.
So people end up, you get a lot of marketers in it, and they say what works, like, oh, here's this one hidden reason why you can't lose weight.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that, shame on you. If you're an entrepreneur in that space, right? Um, and so it's a lot. People don't know what to believe. That's one of the biggest
Hmm.
complaints I hear from people. The other part is cultural. I lived in Thailand for 2 years. I've visited many countries. Lived in Brazil, getting my black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. In
Hmm.
Brazil, that's a interesting one because if I tell someone I'm 48, they always say, "Oh, you're super young," like what
Yeah.
you just said. But if you talk to people in the United States, it's like, "Oh, I'm 48." and kids will tell you that too. Oh, you're old.
Yeah.
But so part of it's that culture, but it's not at the age. You can be in great shape. You can
Hmm.
be in the best shape of your life in your 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
um, but it's uncommon. In fact, the trend, we're in an epidemic of poor health, metabolic dysfunction. There's a lot of
Hmm.
people, there's, a 40% obesity rate, and
Hmm.
something like 70% of people are metabolically unhealthy. They either have
Hmm.
pre-diabetes or diabetes. I mean, it's getting worse. So when
Hmm.
you look around and you see people are really out of shape and struggling with health issues, you think like, oh, well, this is how it is.
Yeah.
So that's part of the battle as well.
Hmm. So we know a bit of the problem here, as we've kind of been talking about, like what's the solution like? And obviously it's going to be different for every every individual, right? And at the end of this, I'll give you the opportunity to leave any websites or contact information. But if we're just trying to like spark a thought here and for people that are listening, like what's some of the solutions, or what do they do?
Yeah, the first thing, know your numbers. Just like in
Mm.
entrepreneurship, again, why I love talking to entrepreneurs, there's all these principles that work across industries, and that's one of them. Just like I wouldn't tell you, hey, I feel pretty good about my business, but it's I'm not really as successful financially as I want to be,
Mm.
but I feel pretty good. It's like, that's nice that you feel good. Let's talk about your numbers.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
don't rely on the story you tell yourself about your health and how you feel. So many people find out that they have diabetes not because they felt it coming on, but because they went to the doctor because they were feeling fine, but they finally
Mm.
had to go. They got that diagnosis after doing blood work. Or with heart disease, a lot of people find out they have heart disease because they have a heart attack or a stroke.
Mm.
So
Mm.
know your numbers. Get your blood work done. Know your body fat, or at least your BMI. Know there's so many things that we could talk about in terms
Yeah.
of knowing your numbers. Resting heart rate variability. There are things that we know that correlate with or directly cause
Mm.
good health. And if you're off on those numbers, it's just a matter of knowing what they are and
Yeah.
implementing strategies to adjust them. So
Mm.
that would be number one, know your numbers. Number two, uh, make sure you do some type of strength training.
Mm.
If you're not lifting weights or doing some type of resistance training, it doesn't have to be barbells and dumbbells, could be kettlebells, could be calisthenics, body weight, doesn't matter. If you're not doing that at least a couple times a week consistently, you lose 3 to 8% of your muscle every decade after 30. So
Mm.
what does that mean? That is why you feel like your metabolism is slower, is because in a way it is, but it's not because your age. It's because muscles are a use it or lose it
Mm.
organ. And if you're not using them, you're losing them.
Mm.
And muscle, another thing about it, it's your metabolic retirement plan.
Yeah.
And meaning like, if you want to avoid a lot of the issues that happen, muscle helps with it. Diabetes, for example, it helps
Mm.
clear glucose out of your bloodstream. And if you want to be independent and still traveling the world and
Yeah.
walking up and down the tiled streets of Lisbon, Portugal, exploring the world and not slipping and falling,
Mm.
and or if you do, able to get back up and not break your hip or leg,
Mm.
lifting weights is going to do that. After that, lose fat. Everyone gets crazy with diet, but fat loss really comes down to something quite simple. It comes down to calories in versus calories out. And people hate
Mhm.
hearing that, because typically what they do is like, okay, well, I'm going to I'll just eat half a plate of food, and then I'll go exercise a lot because that'll increase the calories going out and it'll decrease the calories coming in. But you end up feeling exhausted, tired, and super
Mm.
hungry.
Mm.
However, if you learn how to do this the right way, what I show my clients, you can go to Italy, eat pasta, drink the all the amazing wine, and you can come back and still be lean. So there's strategies that can help you get lean and stay lean without sacrificing your lifestyle, and focus on fat loss. If you have a belly, then you've got some fat to lose. And again, this can come into, this has to do with like, what is your standard? What do you want for yourself? We know men who have a 40-inch waist or over, you're in metabolic danger. So those are two things. If I'm going to throw it, I mean, I could keep going here, but I'll throw out one more, is focus on daily steps. Another one of those myths that so many people over 40 believe is that, to get back in shape, I need to crush it, just like I did when I was in my 20s. I need to run sprints and do interval training and really drive myself into the wall. And then they do it, they feel awful, maybe get injured in the process, and then decide the pain is so terrible from pushing yourself that maybe it's better just to wait and try to solve that problem another time. I say, forget about that. I love intense training, but it needs to be timed appropriately for the right person at the right time. So focus on your steps. I have an Oura Ring. A lot of people have Apple Watches or Fitbits or Whoops, Garmin's. If you're getting 5,000 steps or less, you're basically asking for a health problem. So make sure you're getting, at a minimum, 7,000 steps per day. Forget about the HIIT training and crushing yourself and all the things that you think you might need to do. Just focus on getting 7,000 steps per day. If you can get more, great. But that's a good starting point. So those are 3 solid starting points, I would say.
Talk about your process and what it looks like to work with you. Like a new client, they're just starting out with you. Like what does that look like?
Yeah, I have a framework I use for clients called the Metabolic Reset Sequence. I'm really proud of it. Took me 26 years to put it into this framework, right? And I say framework because there always needs to be some personalization. But it's phase 0 is precision health assessment. So we gather a bunch of data about our client, because if someone might need to do a little bit less lifting and a little bit more steps to bring their cardiovascular condition up, as an example, or they might have other health issues that need to be addressed before we just, drive them with exercise and trying to lose fat. So that's phase 0. Phase 1 is the first 2 weeks of my program. I have this combination of diet, exercise, and supplementation I do that helps my clients lose 4 to 6 pounds in 2 weeks, just to give them a boost. And it goes beyond the weight, because one of the issues that people have is like, coming back to what I said, I studied neuroscience, initially wanted to become a neuroscientist. What we're learning now is that appetite is in part regulated by our brains. In fact, if you see the GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and there's going to be more coming out, what do? Does it affect your metabolism? No. It affects a part of your brain called the hypothalamus that regulates your appetite. So there's ways of regulating your appetite with nutritional changes. And so that's what I do in my phase 1. Now, it's not the same as taking one of those drugs. The medications are really powerful, but it doesn't have side effects like some of those drugs do. And if you stop taking those drugs, you gain the weight back. So then we move into phase 2, which is sustainable fat loss. For example, had actually 3 clients in Italy at the same time, different parts of Italy, but they knew exactly what to do. Even though if you travel to Europe like I do and enjoy Europe, it can be very difficult to find a gym because it's just not the culture. It's not the culture. Like in the States, there's a gym on every corner in every, not even major city, like medium city. So,
For sure.
So they have the strategies to navigate challenges like that while still losing body fat or even sometimes just maintaining.
Mm,
But there's no restrictions in phase two. And then phase three is muscle and fitness maximization. That's
mm,
where we turn the corner, get away from fat loss because we hit your 15% body fat or 12% body fat, whatever we decide on doing, and focus more on growing muscle
mm,
and maximizing what's called VO2 max. VO2 max is a measurement of cardiovascular fitness, and it's one of the top metrics for longevity.
mm,
So, and there's a way of going about improving that in a systematic way.
mhm.
So that's kind of the bird's eye overview.
Yeah. What I want to shift topics here slightly for a moment because I understand you've been podcasting for a long time. Anytime I got a podcaster on the show, I gotta bring that up first off. But I think you're over 10 years in Legendary Life podcast. So talk to us about the show, man. What's going on?
Yeah, well, when I was looking to transition out of personal training, loved my time in personal training in Miami
Hmm.
Beach. Incredible people I met, networking, but I wanted to do something online, and I knew that reaching people online was the way to go,
Yeah.
and developing something online, and we get much better results with my clients now than I ever did with personal training because
Mm,
it's not the time, the 3 hours you're in the gym per week. It's the when you're outside.
yeah.
But with a podcast, um, we were looking for a way to create an online business. Me and my business partner, we
Mm.
chose podcasting after kind of seeing the popularity 11 years ago. John Lee Dumas,
Yep.
can't even remember his name. It's been so long, but he was
Entrepreneur on Fire, I think, right? Yeah.
entrepreneur on fire,
Yeah.
exactly.
He was the
And it
early guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just really connected with me. I was going to
Mm,
do like info products and that type of thing, but we decided on podcasting, and podcasting changed my life. I had conversations with people who would have never talked to me otherwise, even
mm.
though I had a good name for myself in Miami. People don't care in California. They don't know
Yeah.
what's going on in Miami Beach or right. So we chose to do that, and it's been I haven't missed a week in 11 years of posting
Wow.
episodes.
Give us a flavor for the content because I definitely I want my audience to go check it out. Give us a flavor for the content and what they can expect when they tune in.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of solo content, kind of like some of the things that I talk about that I've talked with you about, Adam, today.
Hmm.
And we also do interviews, but I'm very careful about who I have on the show. I might have someone that I disagree with, but no one
Yeah.
who ever is. I don't want to participate in the cognitive dissonance I referred to that's
Mm,
confusing so many people.
yeah.
So I'm very careful to avoid talking to certain people, even though I'd be happy to go on their show or debate
Hmm.
them, something like that. But I'm very careful. So it's a carefully curated interviews with people who I think more people should know about.
Mm,
Um, Sometimes don't even have big followings, but the truth about entrepreneurship is, at least in the health and fitness space,
hmm.
it's like a lot of the people who are better experts are that way because they spent more hours on their craft, not on marketing.
Marketing.
So
Yeah.
so I really want to highlight some people who I feel should be better known.
Mm. Well, Ted, first off, this has been great having you on the show today. I think you dispelled some myths. You gave us some tools. You gave us even a framework so that for if individuals want to follow up and connect with you and work with you, they kind of know what to expect for and to a certain extent. That being said, I mean, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the business?
Yeah, what I'd say is we're going to be really growing the podcast. I just got invited to the #1 health podcast, so I'm going to be flying into Arizona and
Yeah.
taping it in person. So this is my first live podcast that I've ever done
Come
with
on,
you,
man. Look
Adam.
at you getting out there. That's what I'm talking about.
And then in January, yeah, I'm actually flying back to the States just to do that interview. So, and listen, what I'd like to leave everyone with is if you're in a situation kind of like what I said, where you feel like your best days are behind you, I just want to tell you, it's not you, it's some of the things you're doing. And getting results is a lot easier than you think. You just need better strategies. And you can get into the best shape of your life, provided you weren't like an elite athlete in your 20s.
Yeah.
Then you're never going to get back to that if you're
Yeah.
45 with 2 kids but a couple of injuries. But you can get into incredible shape, into the best shape of your life if you've never been there before, even in your 40s and 50s and even 60s. So don't give up. Look for the right information. If you're not getting results, it's not you, it's the strategies. Change them and keep searching until you get the results.
It's awesome. And Ted, if people want to follow up, they want to connect, how do they do that? How do they connect with you and your team?
Yeah, you can find me where you listen to podcasts, Legendary Life Podcast with Ted Rice. But if you're interested in hearing more about what I do and getting a deeper look into the metabolic reset sequence, go to legendarylifepodcast.com/free. You can watch my free Lean After 40 masterclass, where I go over, in much more detail. This was a conversation. This is a presentation. So if you want to see a presentation of what I do and how it can help you and things that you can learn, even if you don't become a client, go to legendarylifepodcast.com/free.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes, so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show, each and every day, bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new experiences that'll help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Ted, man, appreciate all you do. Keep it up.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, man.